Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, April 22nd. What an amazing webinar we had yesterday. It was our most well-attended, such a success. And I want to thank all of you who attended. And I want to follow up. It really dovetails well into a new note out from Morgan Stanley on 6 chip stocks, or actually 9 chip stocks that they've put out there that they think are going to be super important given a big change that is happening with AI right now. And I want to talk about that change first. First of all, Morgan Stanley, in their note, they talk about these autonomous artificial intelligence units. They're really saying that agentic AI, which is AI that can plan tasks and take actions on their own rather than simply responding to prompts. And this really speaks to how AI is about to undergo a massive change. There are 2 ways AI is going to undergo a massive change. One of them is robotics. The other one is agentic AI, AI acting as an agent. Let me explain exactly what that means because it sounds like it's from outer space. Right now, you go to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and Genesis, Google Gemini is great, and you type in something, where does this come from? And it just tells you what it is. It gives you an AI answer, and it's all great. Agentic AI is different. Agentic AI is AI where you can assign it a task. Say, every morning, I want you to have my numbers on my desk ready for me at 6 a.m. And further, I want you to tap into this database and that database to present those numbers and present them to look like this. And every morning, on its own, the AI will do that. That is agentic AI. That's an example of agentic AI. It's interesting how this is all evolving because CPUs, remember CPUs, Intel CPUs, central processing units, they're actually increasingly acting as the control layer for AI systems that manage multi-step tasks like agentic AI, in addition to memory demand rising, which is a big deal. So you're really starting to see the AI story start to move past GPUs. And this is why we've seen a rally in Intel, why we've seen a rally in ARM, and why Nvidia has been hanging back and consolidating it really at a really cheap valuation. So Morgan Stanley says as this transition continues, as we move to agentic AI, which again, here at Behind the Markets, we're already putting into use everywhere full time to actually agentify, what I'm calling agentify our firm, really to have agents do all the tasks that used to take team members an hour or 2 hours a day, especially starting with data. Go here, collect this data, present it this way, things like that. So as we move towards agentic AI, Morgan Stanley is saying that CPUs are going to burst. Now, they list 9 stocks as potential beneficiaries of this move. Boy, what an amazing, by the way, amazing semiconductor explosion we're experiencing right now. It's very akin to the software explosion we experienced in the 90s. Everything was going to be software. Now everything is chips and AI. It's really just worth pointing out how different the world has become since the launch of ChatGPT in 2022. Wow, really is sometimes breathtaking. So the firms that Morgan Stanley sees as the biggest 9 beneficiaries of this are Nvidia, AMD, Intel, and ARM in CPUs and accelerators. So Nvidia, AMD, Intel, and ARM holdings in CPUs and accelerators. In memory, they see Micron, Samsung, and SK Hynix. And in chip making and equipment, they see TSMC and ASML. Now here's what their report misses. And this is what was the subject of our webinar yesterday. All of these chip companies are going to need to package their chips. And as these chips get more complicated, we have packaging companies that used to just take the chip, it was already fully assembled, they just took the chip and wrapped plastic around it, basically a plastic box. But as these chips get more complicated, and as these companies are moving a lot faster to meet demand, what they're doing now is they're pushing all these micro pieces, these microchips, to these assemblers And these assemblers are actually putting them together, as we discussed yesterday in Dylan's diary and during the webinar. What's interesting here is that now the packaging companies go from being like a food packaging company where they're just slapping plastic on something to actually they're moving up the value chain because what they're doing is more valuable. So they're moving up the value chain. And when you move up, when you think of an industry from original resources to the actual consumer, that's called a value chain, not just a supply chain, but a value chain. Okay. Now, when you move up a value chain, your returns on capital go higher. Your business gets better. Think of countries that are the same too. China just used to manufacture dumb stuff. Now they moved up the value chain. Now they're doing software, they're doing smart cars, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody wants to move up the value chain. And now packagers have a real opportunity to move up the value chain. And that's exactly, many of these companies that I mentioned are basically that Morgan Stanley is talking about really benefiting, which means selling more chips. They all use this packaging company, period. So that packaging company, I think Morgan Stanley's report really missed the opportunity, which is why we're talking about it. That packaging company really also stands to benefit when their biggest customers do a heck of a lot more business and need their services, more higher value services. They're going to benefit too. And that is our whole investment thesis and why we held the webinar. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.